This week there is joy and there is gain, there is sadness and there is loss, and there are silly Halloween costumes. This video will contain spoilers for Campaign 1 of Critical Role. Let's get into it. Since it is the Halloween episode, they are all dressed as X-Men. Matt is dressed as Gambit, Taliesin is dressed as Mr. Sinister, Liam is dressed as Cyclops, Laura is dressed as Rogue, Ashley is dressed as Emma Frost, Travis is dressed as Peter Rasputin cosplaying as Wolverine, and Sam is dressed as Mr. Fantastic. I'm glad it was pointed out that Mr. Fantastic is not a member of the X-Men because I don't know anything about X-Men. Also, I just realized while editing this that I forgot Marisha. Marisha, I'm so sorry.
I am the Dark Phoenix, and apparently California passed a law where you can't buy colored contacts over the counter, but luckily I have a post team at my power. Oh! Take it, Matt Shapiro!
What's happening? I'm imagining that it's happening.
Why are they always in these costumes in the most emotionally racking episodes? As soon as I saw them, I knew that this was going to be a Sam dressed as the leprechaun moment all over again.
Just sort of... just hug Caleb.
Belle's Hells wake up from their astral projection and they explain to Pike that they killed, banished, skedaddled Delilah, and so she examines Laudner to see if Delilah is still there. Now, 99.9% of you in the comments last week believe that Delilah is not gone, and I gotta agree with you. Pike does feel that Delilah's hold on Laudner is lessened somewhat, but is not able to say for sure if she's gone completely. I think that Delilah is probably still lurking in there somewhere, or is off in the shadow realm that she lives in, just hatching her next evil plot. Pike does mention that there is still a chance that it could be Delilah who comes back if they try the revivification spell. And how amazing would it be to have Marisha role-playing Delilah pretending to be Laudner? I don't think that that's what's going on, but honestly, I'm here for that alternate universe. Pike begins the ritual.
She speaks, her voice echoes, like numerous versions of her own voice are projecting and supporting what she says. As she shouts out into the space between you all, she says, Laudner, wherever you are, come back to us. Come back to your family.
And as per Matthew Mercer's homebrew death rules, which you can get in Tal'Dorei Reborn, 3 party members need to make offerings of some kind to the ritual to either contribute to its success or to hinder it with failures. Orym is the first to attempt to beseech Laudner to come back.
I know your history. You deserve to be more than a footnote in Delilah's story. There are people here who need you. They need your life and your heart. I don't know what Belle's Hells will be without your darkness, Laudner, or your light. Please, we don't want to leave anyone behind. Least of all you. We gotta get that blood flowing through your veins again. Please, come back. And with his free hand, he sort of scooches forward on his knees and he starts trailing his hand down through Laudner's hair, and red poppies start to bloom all through her black hair.
Liam is absolutely feeding the fan artists with this imagery of Laudner with poppies in her hair. I can't wait to see it. Liam rolls a nature check using the poppies as sort of the medium and barely succeeds with an 11. Then FCG steps forward.
Laudner, you might not have been, perfect, but you loved escargot and sashimi, and you loved Imogen, and I've always been told that a soul that loves at least touches perfection. You once said to me that the worst thing that ever happened to you has already happened, and now I can say that the worst thing that ever has happened to us has already happened. With you not here, it's really scary. And not the fun kind. Pike said that you might not want to come back, so I'm afraid we can't let you do that. So I'm gonna cast compulsion on her and compel her to come back. if possible.
Okay.
Compulsion is a 4th level spell, and it's actually about forcing targets to move around. So it says here that if they fail their save, you can use your bonus action on each of your turns to designate a direction that is horizontal to you. So it's not really like a charm spell or something like that. It is sort of more like combat focused, but I did enjoy Sam's interpretation of it and trying to use it in this ritual. However,
Natural 1.
I feel like the dice know what story to tell sometimes. Like, sometimes the dice are just too perfect, because it is a kind of scummy thing to do, right? To try and compel Laudna to come back if she doesn't want to, especially as Imogen points out later in her beautiful speech that she has spent so much of her life being dominated by and being compelled by Delilah. So even though I didn't enjoy that there was a failure in the ritual, I think it was very narratively poignant. Did I say that word? And of course, saving the most emotionally taxing for last, Imogen steps forward.
You know you saved my life, right? If you hadn't come into town when you did, I don't know how long I would have lasted. These last few years have been... they've been everything. And through it all, through all the laughter and all the hardships, she was with you. She was choking you. If you come back, I don't know how you're gonna feel. I don't know if you'll feel free or if you'll feel empty. But I want you to know whatever hole she's leaving, I'll be there to help fill it, all right? I'll be there for you. I'm not gonna tell you to come back. I'm not gonna try to compel you to come back, because that choice, Laudna, is yours now. No one gets to control you anymore, all right? Just know that I love you. And I'm here. And I'm gonna take Pate and I'm gonna put him on her chest.
Make a persuasion check for me.
Can I guide her?
Sure. I'll allow it.
Oh, no. Yeah. Nope.
What's the total?
It's a 7.
It's a 7? Okay.
Poor Laura trying to wipe her eyes with those horrible gloves on. Like, this is always what happens when they wear these costumes. Not to mention getting a nosebleed. Like, yikes. Matt does that thing where he pauses. He takes a moment to gather his thoughts, to kind of leave everyone in suspense. And I'm just sitting there going, what did you roll, Matthew Mercer? Tell us right now!
And slaps the side of Laudna's face, of which immediately Laudna sits up, jolted awake from the pain. Laudna, if you come back to the table, please.
Oh! What did you roll?
16.
Oh my god.
Pike used the spell Raise Dead, which costs 500 gold to complete, and it only works on creatures who have been dead for less than 10 days. This particular spell doesn't restore missing body parts, so Laudna's ears stay the same. I sort of hypothesized last week about what spell it could be and whether those ears would grow back. And this is a hard spell to come back from, or, you know, it kind of represents how hard it is to come back from the dead, because you take a -4 penalty to all of your ability checks and saving throws and attack rolls, and that number goes down by 1 every time you finish a long rest. So it's going to be a little while before Laudna is back to full sort of capacity and health. Physically, anyway. There is no physical difference in her body. She seems exactly the same as she was before. So it seems like mechanically she's going to be staying as a hollow one. Last week we talked about, you know, is she going to be a human again, or is she going to stay a hollow one? So it looks like everything mechanically is pretty much going to be staying the same. Laudna is understandably very disturbed upon learning that she is in Whitestone.
It was the best chance we had of bringing you back.
Why would you bring me back here?
So we wouldn't lose you, Laudna.
But she decides that she does want to see the city, and as they are leaving Pike's home, we see just how prepared the Derolos were to face Delilah once again, with rows upon rows upon rows of Pale Guard and the Rifle Corps. These are the sort of main military forces here in Whitestone. Percy, he's not going to mess around. Outside, Laudna is struck by the change that has come over Whitestone and the contrast that this beautiful, bright place has to the horrible, desolate, misery-filled place that she remembers. she approaches the sun tree and sort of communes with it.
And she just takes the sun tree and embodies it. And from onlookers, it looks like branches start sprouting from her shoulders. And you see almost an entire life cycle, a season's worth, or years worth of seasons, as the branches bloom and then wither and then fall, until eventually she drops it.
Suntree patron, let's go! Yes! We just talked about this theory last week. Now, I know that this doesn't necessarily mean that we're actually getting a Suntree patron. Marisha could just be taking these kind of elements and thinking about how to reflavor them to sort of rewrite the relationship that Laudna has to the Suntree and to kind of incorporate that into her spooky powers. And as some of you pointed out in the comments, if Delilah is gone or is at least severed from Laudna, she doesn't actually need that patron to retain her warlock powers. Rules as written, once you get your warlock powers, you've got them. It's not like a cleric or something where your powers are bestowed upon you by a deity and you're kind of drawing power from that deity. With a warlock, it's like the patron goes, here's how to do a thing. And you go, sweet, now I know how to do the thing. And like they can't really take that away. Now, of course, we did see them play around a little bit with that in campaign 2, but yes, I think it's fine for her to mechanically remain a warlock even if Delilah is no longer actively her patron. But maybe the Suntree will fill that spot. I know a lot of you were gunning in the comments last week that Vax would be her patron rather than like the Raven Queen. And I can see why that this would be a really neat idea. However, I really hope it's not going to end up being Vax. I think we have enough ties now to campaign 1. I feel like adding any more, it just starts to feel a little bit too heavy. And I would rather see something new that we haven't really seen as much of before, because then it sort of expands the world of Exandria out further if we're sort of exploring realms and themes that we haven't really looked at before in previous campaigns. That's just my personal preference though. So speaking of Warlock patrons, we finally learned this week which pact Laudna took when she took her 3rd level in Warlock. And yes, I was right. It was Pact of the Chain. Sorry, I get very excited when I'm correct because a lot of the time I get corrected in these videos. A lot, because you know I'm human and I make mistakes, so let me have this one. But yes, Pact of the Chain allows you to cast the Find Familiar spell, and it gives you some other benefits that you can do extra things with your familiar that you couldn't normally do just with the spell. And of course, who else is going to be her familiar?
All right, so it's real nice to meet all of you for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but like really the first time. You especially, you're real nice looking.
I could have watched Pate interact with everyone for like the rest of the episode. That was so funny and silly, and I love that they're just like, wait, how long is he sticking around? And he's just like, hello, I'm here now. We saw Find Familiar quite a lot in campaign 2, so I'm really excited to see how they use it this campaign as well. Hi, my name is Luna, and I'm looking for love. I've sort of been unlucky in love. I keep opening myself up only to have my trust broken over and over again. I think I'm looking for someone who's kind of unique, who has a little bit of sparkle to them, you know? Who sort of gels with my vibe and my character. We had our first date last night and I think it went really well. I felt like I could really trust them to have my back. You know, I had this sort of crazy plan to climb up the side of a building and backflip off of it to ambush some bandits, and they were really there for me, supporting me every role along the way. And spending time with them seems like it could be a lot of fun because they come with a free D&D adventure. I don't want to jinx it. I'm too scared to jinx it. I think that maybe they could be the one. Fall in love with your own set of dice from onlycrits.com and use the code LUNA to get 12% off your next order plus a free D&D adventure with your purchase. Percy, Vex, and Pike are also at the Suntree, and we get a couple of, character-on-character amusing moments here, like when Laudna tells Percy that she named her dead rat after him.
Excuse me? What?
Or when Fern tries to steal Pike's holy symbol.
My bracelets and all this hair, it just gets all tangled.
She
Thank
smiles.
you.
She gives you a wink. Knowing look.
They take a tour of the town and then they have dinner in Whitestone Castle. This was clearly a very distressing moment for Laudner. I think Marisha role-played it beautifully. It seemed like it didn't perhaps occur to anybody else except for Imogen, who checked in and sort of said to Vex, like, hey, can we be a little mindful of, how this feast is going to play out, given that Laudner's last feast here was with the Briarwoods? During this feast, FCG chats with Percy about maybe, doing a collab and getting some more tinkering done on FCG's body. But Percy says, that's not really in my wheelhouse. You should look up my friend Tarion Darrington, who is another character from Campaign 1. It was the second character that Sam played, and he had an automaton companion called Dodie. Percy gives FCG his, address, essentially, and says, you should look him up. I don't know if we'll ever see that happen. I don't know if the party's gonna go to Wildmount. It would be pretty cool if they did, but yeah, we'll see if that scene ever eventuates. And then next is the scene that made me lose all grip on reality. Fern asks Percy for a gun from Mister.
If you wouldn't mind giving this to your monkey once you've left the city, just to be safe.
Mister's got a gun. This has to be one of the most ludicrous things that have ever happened in Critical Role, and there have been some pretty ludicrous things that have happened in Critical Role. The party fills Percy and Vex in on everything that they've learned about the Dunamancy potions, about the residuum smuggling, about Ruidus, about the Cerberus assembly. And Percy basically says, cool. All right, I'll add that to the pile of other things I've got to worry about. It's a classic, high-powered NPC thing of, oh, yes, I will definitely look into it for you, but I'm very busy with all of these other very busy, important things. And, that's what we want, right? We want them to be too busy to deal with it so that our beloved heroes can be the ones to investigate and to solve the problems and to tackle it head on. And, they'll get a little bit of help sometimes, but really, we want it to be the responsibility of Belle's Hells. Otherwise, it's boring. Vex apologizes to Laudner for what happened to her, feeling guilty since Laudner was killed as a lookalike to Vex. Now, Laudner didn't really seem to peg what the connection was there, especially I think Marisha rolled a 7 intelligence check earlier on, so she doesn't really seem to clock what's going on there. But Vex does give Laudner a ring of protection. Now, if I am correct, Vex had this ring at the beginning of Campaign 1, so this is an item that has stayed with Vex for a very, very, very long time, and to gift it to Laudner, I think, is a beautiful moment. I assume that Matt would have checked in with Laura beforehand, if that would be okay. Maybe? I mean, maybe not. Vex is a very, rich and powerful person now. I'm sure she could get another one if she wants. But yeah, I thought that was a really lovely moment. Laudner decides she doesn't want to sleep in the castle. She wants to sleep out under the sun tree. And honestly, I thought we were going to get a little sun tree vision here. But instead, Imogen dreams of another red storm. This time, FCG, who has cast their homebrew spell Share Dream, is there in the dream with her, which is really neat. I think this is the first Red Storm dream that Imogen has had since seeing Odahan, so it's nice to know that she doesn't have to suffer it alone. Within the dream, Imogen sees a figure she can't quite make out, who kind of dissipates in a similar way to the way she saw Bertrand and the Loomis twins disappear.
Oh God, I hope it's not Istros.
Okay, what are your theories about what is going on here? Here's mine. The people who are killed by Odahan using this special toxin, the toxin seals away their spirits and seals their spirits away in Ruidus. That's why there's a city on Ruidus, because the people who live there are the spirits who have been sealed away, but they're on a different plane of existence. I don't know. I haven't ironed out all of the details. The only flaw, there are no other flaws, okay, is that Aram saw Will in his vision when he was dying. And it didn't seem like, I feel like Will would be like, no, don't come here. I'm trapped on Ruidus, if that is what was going on. This could be explained perhaps by Aram not actually seeing Will's spirit. Not actually seeing Will in the afterlife. He was having a vision because he was dying. He didn't actually see Will. It was just that his brain concocted this vision for him. Alternatively, rather than it being just the toxin that seals spirits away, maybe it's also Ruidus-born. Ruidus-born their spirits are sealed away on the moon. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know. You know the drill. Get in the comments. In Imogen's dream, the lights begin to dim and the storm begins to settle, and she looks out.
You see a dark, voided scape, filled with thousands and thousands of stars.
Where are we now?
We're on the moon, bitch.
And then they wake up. What is going on the moon? I need to know! The next morning, Fern casts Speak with Plants, so we get another little conversation with the Sun Tree.
You excited for the apogee solstice?
Any plans?
I mean, I guess a little. It's interesting and makes me feel all tingly.
No.
Matt actually looks like he's high with those red contacts in. All right, well, it's from here that things start to get a little grim again, because Imogen sends a message to Esteros and doesn't get a response. And the rest of the party are quick to reassure her, like, don't worry, he's probably just asleep, right? Like, it's just probably that he's asleep. The party do a brief excursion to...
Welcome to Gilmore's Glorious Goods!
The Whitestone branch, and unfortunately Gilmore is not here, which makes sense. He lives in Marquette with his husband Darius. FCG also visits the Horizon Temple to seek the guidance of Osley Cometa. They ask how they can talk to the Changebringer and how they can seek some guidance from her. Cometa advises FCG to look out for signs of the Changebringer and to open themselves up to her. And if they want to talk to her, to just talk to her. That was nice, right? We don't have to talk about the next part of the episode, do we? We could just wrap up there. This week is the 1 year anniversary of Critical Role, and it's also the 1 year anniversary of me making this video. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you so much to all of your support. The growth of the channel over the last year has been absolutely wild. It's been a wonderful roller coaster. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to say a really big thank you to my YouTube members and patrons, because without them, I really couldn't invest as much time in these videos as I do. These videos take me something like 16 hours a week to make, and I work full time and I parent. So their support really allows me to put in that time and invest in the channel. So on that note, I'd like to welcome new supporters, Alex, Chad, Jeff, Cider, and Okami. And I'd like to say a special thank you to Yasha, Tony, Rob, Mark, Admiral, Gemini, and Chad. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so for as little as $2 a month at patreon.com/Luboffin or by pressing the join button underneath this video. They head back to Drusar via a transport by plant spell courtesy of Manaya Turai, and they go straight to Esteros Manor. Once again, Imogen casts Sending, there is no response. FCG casts Locate Creature and does get a read on where Esteros is, but I think that this is probably just a read on his body, even though there have been different interpretations of that spell in the past. Chetney picks the lock and Lordna sends Pate in along with him to explore what has happened in their house, and it is absolute carnage. There are traps set off everywhere, there is blood everywhere, a sign of a really big fight. Liam makes a great observation. There are no bodies in the traps, even though they probably are the ones that triggered them. And that is because they are likely the same assassins that melted away into nothing when they died. They discover the body of Esteros in what appears to be his bedroom as he's trying to reach a lockbox. There's not even any hope of him coming back because Orem examines Esteros's walking stick and notes that it has the same toxin on it that were used to kill his family, meaning that there's no way to revive Esteros. Finding a key on his body, Chetney is able to open the lockbox, and inside are a number of letters addressed to various allies of Esteros, and there's one letter for Bell's Hells.
My friends, if indeed you have this letter in your hands, then my fate has finally caught up to me. I have done many violent things in my life, some I am proud of and some I still deeply regret. I've already been running long running on stolen time. I feel the looming specter of recompense with every morning, and since our paths have intertwined, I chose to stare down directly without lament. I can assure you that I embraced my end with aplomb and left a mark on my foe they will never forget. In our comparatively brief time together, you have brought a light and blah, blah, blah. God, he's fucking purple prose. The world so continuously rolled by. Yeah, okay, I've been lucky enough, sure. You and the late Bertram Bell were the latest of these deeply appreciated encounters. Oh, he enjoyed our time with us. With every step, I worried you had all stepped into matters far beyond your ability, foolishly marching into oblivion like I once had been. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it foolish. I now know I was wrong. Those that twist the roads of history to their own dark ends want us to believe we can do nothing. They have no power in the face of such ancient, terrible machinations. I know they are wrong. True bravery is to stand in the face of fear and doubt and march ever on. True bravery inspires others to fall in line behind you and defy their illusions. You inspired me to fall in yours, and for that I thank you. I have many debts to settle and gifts to disperse now that my day is closed. Whatever sunset I may have been running from for so long, I look forward to seeing Elia once more.
Elia?
Damn. I look forward to watching you all do great things from whatever realm calls me to rest. Remember me not just as a warrior, but as a friend in my own awkward way. Thank you. Now go stop this weird moon shit.
Is that what it says?
Eric's. The variant coin stores of Dumont on behalf of Lord Eric Esteros. Heir
coin stores?
I'm just fucking reading the letter. Heir to the Prudage fortune and business. Did I say that right? In the eventual event of my demise, I leave to the members of the band known as Bell's Hells, Ashton, Laudna, Orem, Imogen, Timold, Fern, Calloway, Letters, and that odd older gnome fellow, you fucking... my trusted weapon, Turmoil, and the ownership of the skyship, the Silver Sun.
Oh my god!
Calm down, he's dead.
I'm sorry, he's...
He will also... I will...
They leave the house and the episode ends. Matthew Mercer giveth, and Matthew Mercer taketh away. This, even though it is heartbreaking and tragic, it does kind of make a lot of sense for where we're at in the story, both narratively and mechanically. Bell's Hells are getting more powerful, and they are not necessarily in need of a patron like Esteros in the same way that they were in the very beginning of the campaign. And it feels like Esteros hasn't been around for that long, but this week was the 1 year anniversary of Critical Role, so Esteros has been around for probably a third of this campaign. So even though it does feel too soon for him to die, I think it kind of makes sense, especially because now the party have even more reason to go after Odahan, and it gives us, the audience, even more reason to hate her. I mean, that's one surefire way to make sure the players and, you know, us as the audience are completely on board with hunting down Odahan, is to kill a beloved NPC in this way. Plus, bequeathing them the skyship feels more realistic than Esteros just saying, hey, you can have my skyship whenever you want. And this way, the party have the ability to travel around Marquette and potentially further. I mean, I'm not sure how far a skyship can go, without constantly having to bug high-powered NPCs like Keyleth or like Essek in Campaign 2 to teleport them wherever they need to go. So what is the party's next move? What do you think it's going to be? I think personally, next episode, we're going to see them delivering those letters from Esteros, and then I think we're going to see them liaising with Captain Xandus of the skyship and heading to Eos to sort of discover more about this ruinous plotline. Here's to Esteros. He was a good egg, even if he couldn't bake very well. Thank you so much to Only Crits for sponsoring this video. If you use the code LUNAR at checkout, you'll get 12% off your order, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Oh, Jesus. It never fucking did.